Are you a physician looking to take your own profitable medical expert witness practice to the next level? MedicalExpertWitness.com is the ultimate program to learn how to brand yourself as an expert witness and get yourself seen. Building a reputation in the field from scratch has its challenges, but don't let them hold you back.
MedicalExpertWitness.com understands what you are facing, as they were once there too. In fact, 10 years ago, CEO Dr. Jordan Romano started his own consulting in the medical malpractice space. His experience has included providing expert witness testimony, reviewing medical records, and analyzing complex medical cases. Dr. Romano has become well-versed in the intricacies of medical malpractice law and has worked on cases for both plaintiffs and defendants in nearly every state in the U.S. And now his company provides medical professionals with the tools and support they need to supercharge their career as a medical expert witness. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Just imagine having the support you need to brand yourself as a medical expert witness too. Now that's powerful. So what are you waiting for? Visit MedicalExpertWitness.com today and gain access to a mentor who can connect you with attorneys in need of your specialized knowledge, expand your network, find new cases, and watch your business thrive.
Finally, a source of raw, real, and honest information on healthcare issues that matter most. Welcome to BS Free MD. From the latest medical information to how to stay sane as a doctor or a patient, no subject is taboo, no BS is allowed. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Drs. May and Tim Hindmarsh.
Have you ever found yourself trapped in a cycle of negativity and self-criticism? Do you often see obstacles instead of opportunities? If you answered yes, join me on today's Truth Bomb with my beautiful wife, who used to be a provincial level, that's like a state for our American friends, state level synchronized swimmer. So she can hold her breath much longer than I can hold my farts. So it actually kind of balances each other out.
Well, that's a real nice introduction. The usefulness of breath holding.
Yes, you never knew that it would be an integral part of our 30-plus year marriage.
I think that's a actual little shitbuster right there. I'll throw that in the
sometimes
newsletter for next week.
It 100% is.
Well, let's get into my thoughts for the week. I really had kind of a revelation about attitude for me over the last couple of weeks. I mean, honestly, I'm always having a revelation about my attitude. But honestly, I've been struggling recently with just some, I call midlife crisis type stuff, and listening to some different podcasts and audiobooks, searching for help. And I've been really pondering a lot, a thought that came up, which is, I'll just say opportunity versus obstacles and attitude. And you all have heard the proverbial sort of question, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? And, you know, when I say that right away, for me, at least, I identify instantly with one of those. I know that Tim probably does, but we all see, you know, the glass with our own sort of vision. The bigger thing is, it's not if it's half full or half empty, but as much as, you know, why you look at it that way, and what do you ultimately, you know, see, and why is your brain thinking that it's an empty space of air or luscious, probably whiskey for Tim, opportunity in a glass. So, you know, obviously, I think it's pretty obvious that optimists are going to find the glass half full, and pessimists look at it, you know, empty. And, you know, there's also these other people who say, oh, but, you know, wait, there's other ways to look at it. You know, maybe someone has already had their drink from the glass, so it really was full and they already had some, and just be grateful you have a glass at all and all that. And really drives me nuts, because I think really that is just kind of diverting away from the basic issue of how you look at it. Do you see it full or empty? So for me, I grew up in a very, I would say I thought I was trained to be critical minded and critical thinking. I'm a pessimist. I know I am. Tim he's nodding his head. Yes. He's there beside me. But I always thought I'm a pessimist, and it's because the way I was raised, I needed to think critically. Everything had to be perfect. Otherwise it wasn't good enough. Everything was about being type A, perfectionism, and always like trying to do better. And so always looking for the negative in things. And if something was done well, you would get some accolades now and then, but it really focused on finding what was wrong and fixing it. And, doesn't matter what it was, whether it was school projects, attitude, skills, sports. It was always like, okay, what's wrong and how can I fix it so that I can get better?
Right. But could you ever fix it to the point of perfection that you actually were satisfied with, or did it just reinforce the fact that you were a failure because you could find the problems but never really fix them?
Yeah, well,
right.
That took a long time to unpack that psychological baggage, because sometimes you'd think that it would be perfect. But in the back of your head, you're like, is it really, And, there's times to have that real critical type thinking. Like I would always kind of joke that, I'd have the perfect job as an editor. I love critiquing the kids' papers because you need to have a critical eye. You need critical thinking. But, man, it's just a downer when you look at everything through a negative lens, because it tends to come out that way. So anything I say, the first thing out of my mouth, without like throwing up a big roadblock sometimes, is negative stuff. And who wants to be around someone with the first thing out of their mouth is negative? And so what really hit me, I guess, in this whole thing was I was, digging around in the yard. I was listening to this audiobook called Take Control of Your Life by Mel Robbins. And she does these amazing case studies when she's counseling and coaching people. And they're big stumbling blocks. And man, if I recommend everybody should listen to it, because it really highlights basic personality types. And I was identifying, of course, with multiple people, but she got to this part that talks about attitude and mindset and critical thinking. And there's a lot in there that I won't even begin to unpack on this podcast, but why you're raised that way and how you tend to think this way. But she repurposed and used an analogy. Actually, I looked it up from a guy named Sinek, and he's an author, an inspirational speaker. And he told the original story that Mel talked to this person that she was coaching and said, think about this and how do you handle it? So this is the story. These two guys, Simon and his friend, had just finished running a New York City race. Wasn't the marathon, but it was a road race of some kind, a 10K or something. When you get to the end of the race, if you're a runner, you know that there's always a table of food. And so when they get to the end of the race, he says to his friend, hey, look, see that table up there? We can get some free bagels. Free bagels. Let's get in line. And his friend says, no, I just see a really long line. I don't want to stand in that long line. And he's like, but wait, it's like free bagels, free. And his friend's like, no, the line's too long. So instantly, the point is that, and then he talks about how you could sneak around the line and take your pick. But the important part of that is instantly he realized that there's two ways of looking at things. And it's kind of like the glass half full, half empty, that there's two types of people. People see the thing that they want and they're going to go for it. So Simon saw the bagels, the free bagels. That's what he saw. Forget the line, free bagels. Whereas the friend instantly saw a line, and even though there's free bagels, it was like, there's the obstacle's too big. And so you either see things that you want and you're going to go for it, or you just see things that prevent you from getting what you want. So how do you see things? She told that story. The light bulb went off for me in like a big way, because she said, there's basically what you're seeing is you're seeing opportunity or you're seeing obstacles. And if you look at your life all the time that way, with a critical eye, with the glass half empty, or if you look at it with half full, you're seeing opportunity. It really affects how you live your life and pursue things. And so it was just a different way to say, it's the glass half full, half empty, that bagel line. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on so much, because instantly my brain gets critical and sees the negative instead of going, you know what? There's times to be careful, watch for the fire, any real big red flags. But what if I just changed my glasses a little bit, cleaned them off, and try to get a new pair of sunglasses through which I looked at the world, and try to, not be afraid of the obstacles and look around them for opportunity. Maybe, if I took a few steps in that direction, things would change, and not be so afraid. As I like to say, I'm really heavy on the brake in life, and maybe just let go a little bit and step on the gas. It would be a little bit more free going. And so I would challenge you, if you're one of those people out there, are you a obstacle or a fixed mindset kind of person, or you are an opportunity kind of growth mindset? I think we all can grow in some ways, and there's a time to have a little bit of break and slow down if you're one of these crazy just go for it kind of people and real reckless. But I think a lot more of us really need to look for that opportunity, that growth mindset, because we're not ever going to get anywhere unless we sort of take a chance. And I say, stand even in that line. You'll meet some really cool people along the way. Connect with some really cool people in that line for the bagels that might present you some other opportunity from some really cool free stuff. And as we all know, there's usually bananas in that line, and cookies and all kinds of other goodies. So my analogy is, don't be afraid to look beyond the obstacles in the line and look for growth in your life.
Yeah. And know that it's at times very uncomfortable. I saw a line in a climbing magazine that was awesome. They are interviewing climbers, and basically the conclusion was, are rock climbers scared of heights? And the answer is yes, because all the ones that weren't were selected out of the gene pool in a series of very long falls. So it's not if you're scared, it's not if it's uncomfortable. It's that you're willing to put up with those things and push through. Because I think sometimes the negative stuff is just a way to avoid what we know will be painful. And then we don't, whether it's diet, exercise, taking a financial risk, moving, all of those things. And so part of it is confronting your own ability to just be comfortable being uncomfortable as well.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's just, staying where you are. You're right. It's just easier to do that. And
then you can use the half full glass as an excuse for your kind of being not as courageous as you needed to be.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I challenge you all to, look at what you got in that glass and go for more. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to change my attitude. I'm going to pick up my cheerleader pom-poms.
I'm going to wait to see that.
Though I'm not a pom-pom kind of girl, and I'm going to really try to push forward. So that's my challenge. I challenge you for that as well. And we also just want to give a shout out this week to someone who is a very optimistic supporter of BS Free MD. That's Sandy Kibling. You're amazing, Sandy. Thanks so much for always showing your support on our social accounts. We see you and appreciate you.
All right. Till next week. Bombs away.
MedicalExpertWitness.com's online program and coaching calls teach you how they grow dozens of thriving medical expert practices. Book a free call. Take the first step in achieving your medical expert witness goals with a free 30-minute call.
Don't miss out on the incredible opportunity to get your medical witness expert practice up and running. Visit medicalexpertwitness.com to sign up.
It's no secret that medicine is a bit uptight. That's why Tim and I created BS Free MD, to mix things up a little and have fun in the process. Besides, we are having these exact same discussions all the time, so we thought we might as well invite everyone to the party. If you really like us, you can get plenty more and maybe see one of Tim's cool tattoos on our Instagram or Facebook pages at BS3MD. See you next time.
But we try to keep BS3MD as raw and real as possible. We can't be held responsible for any medical decisions or discussions had as a result of what you've heard on the show. We know, bummer. But the truth is, we really do care about your questions. So feel free to reach out to us by email at doc@bs3md.com.